My name is Rebecca Esselstein, and I am a cadet at your academy. I'm from Dayton, Ohio, more specifically Washington Township, Centerville, Kettering area. I'm an astronautical engineering major, looking at orbital dynamics, how spacecraft operates and works in space, how we can control a spacecraft to meet different mission objectives, and the astrodynamics surrounding that. A lot of weekends spent in my dorm room. It all goes back to me wanting to be an astronaut, and then we did a unit on the solar system in the 3rd grade, and I was just blown away and I loved it. In the 7th grade, I was working on a science fair project on drag on airplanes, and we had a new neighbor across the street who I knew flew for the Air Force. So I went over to talk to him about drag and how that affected airplane flight to get some background information. And somehow the discussion of what I wanted to be grew up, and he's like, well, do you know how to get there? And I didn't really have a good idea. He's like, what about the Air Force Academy? And my first thought was, I do not want to go through boot camp. As high school was drawing to an end, I didn't want my track career to end. I thought I could do more, and I wanted to see how I could do at next level while I still had a chance to run. And for me, running for the academy was more like icing on the cake. My goal was to come here, and then running was just a bonus that I had. Sometimes it's the hardest leadership opportunity I've had, because in squadron you have your structure of, okay, you're a flight commander, these are your subordinates. You have to obviously mold yourself in other ways to gain their respect and really inspire them and everything. On a team, everyone is kind of on the same footing, and even though you're a captain, the dynamic's different on a team than it is in squad. And I like to say that I got my culture shock over with during Dilly for a Day and summer seminar of spring between my junior and senior year of high school. Here you're working with this unit and learning how to work together and be a team and get things done. And sometimes that feeling was one of the greatest feelings in the world. And it's just incredible how the smallest things can be hilarious. Things that you wouldn't really appreciate before all of a sudden become so much more important. Like just getting a letter in the mail, or even eating like a piece of candy. Never seriously considered leaving at all during basic, because you work so hard to get into the academy, and you can't base the rest of your time in the academy on 6 weeks. It was actually kind of surprising for me. When I was applying to come here, everyone told me it's really hard, you're not going to get the grades you got in high school, and I'm a major perfectionist, so I was kind of worried about that. Freshman academics, also the first semester is pretty laid back because you only have 5 classes, and I think the academy does that to kind of get you used to being at the academy, because you're adapting to all the other things you have to deal with. But as the first semester came to an end and I saw my grades were where I wanted them, I was kind of surprised that I was able to still pull that off. And I came in here thinking I was going to do aero, but when I read about astro, it was about space and rockets and satellites. I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is right up my alley. I mean, it's named after George Marshall, who came up with the Marshall Plan to help bring Europe out of the economic problems experienced after World War II. With Marshall, you can go anywhere in the UK, which is really awesome that they have that flexibility. And then ROSE is based off of to find people who can make an impact for the better in the world, and trying to develop those people that will have influence. I actually didn't put down Marshall or ROSE, I think, on that initial sheet. I might have, but I didn't know if I was, with being a really technical major, I didn't know if I was the kind of person they were looking for. It became really important to me, and just to have that opportunity to study in another country, and I thought about it literally every day, and on the majority of my runs, just trying to think through my personal statement and get an idea of what I was going to say and the story I wanted to tell to the committees. And then the Graduate Studies Office organized a practice interview in April, and that interview, I hated that practice interview. I was so bad at interviews. You can ask any one of the members of the committee. That was terrible. And then the summer, it was just more trying to build that story again in your personal narrative. And then in August, we had another practice interview, but this one was more, it was for the academy and to endorse you, I guess. So to make that decision, I did better than the one I did in April, but it's still a struggle. I was terrible with interviews. And after that, once you got approved that you were going to get endorsed by the academy, You had to sit down and fill out the applications, which is a really tedious process in itself. Again, that personal statement, you have to cram your life story pretty much into 1,000 words. We weren't allowed to get any feedback on our written work, so that was really difficult as well, because it's like, I don't know how much of an improvement this is from my first one. I know it's better, but there were many nights where I was up pretty late trying to hammer out the details of my application. I got the Marshall and the Rhodes. I was really excited. I got the Marshall first because it was the week before, and I was just so thrilled that I was guaranteed pretty much now to go study in the UK and have that experience, and I was really excited. And then I got Rhodes on top of it, and that caused me so much stress, because I really like the Marshall Scholarship, what it stands for, and the flexibility it offers. But like, you can't really use Rhodes, so it was very difficult to choose between the two. Marshall actually has alternates though, so turning down the Marshall, someone else would get to go study in the UK. So that was another driving factor, especially since I had time to interact with the other candidates for Rhodes. And all of them were so deserving of the scholarship, and I felt like if I turned that scholarship down and none of them got to go, it'd be kind of like a slap in the face to them. I have a pilot slot right now. I'm waiting on a waiver, so if that doesn't go through, then hopefully I'll be an engineer for the Air Force and apply skill sets I learned from the astrophysics work that I do at Oxford and my undergraduate work here, and be an effective engineer for the Air Force, and then hopefully get into flight test engineering. Then from there, astronaut, and then hopefully one day work within NASA on like either determining missions or working within the higher levels of the administration and leading NASA. That would be incredible. I'm not saying I could get there, but that's something to shoot for. I'm tempted to tell myself not to worry so much, but I almost wonder if that's why I am where I am. Because one of my biggest strengths is one of my biggest weaknesses. So I'm a perfectionist, which means I work hard. It's kind of all blurs together, but there are definitely moments and times that stand out and that really show how much I appreciate this place. I've met my best friends here, and that's going to be the hardest thing leaving my friends, and just knowing that they're right down the hall and I can go bug them anytime or run with my best friends down in the athletic fields and everything. The stress of just walking down the hallway and being afraid of greeting upperclassmen. I mean, it seems so long ago now, but that's how like my life was on a regular basis for 9 months. So it's definitely become a part of me. The support I get for my goals out of this place and making myself a better person and a better officer. So many people have just invested so much time and effort into me, and I can't be more grateful for that. My name is Rebecca Esselstein, and I am a cadet at your academy.